Yo, 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 yo.
What's up?
Pizza bagel time.
Pizza bagel time, baby.
This is the time where I pizza and you bagel.
I sure do. I bagel my dick off.
Yeah, and I pizza my dick off.
Yep.
A pizza that dick,
Yeah.
am I right?
Yeah, you sure are. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. I was actually going to ask you because
Yeah?
it's Monday was the B-Day, the bagel B-Day.
Correct.
We are
A 42-year-old bagel.
a 42-year-old bagel,
Holy shit.
stale-ass,
Stale as
everything bagel.
Yep. Sesame seeds are falling off.
Nothing. I was just going to ask, since we're a handful of days in, how's this week going so far as far as birthdays?
It's going great. I mean, this is birthday week, so my wife is the 16th, my mom is the 15th, and I'm the 21st of August.
Oh, shit.
So it's all smashed in together. And we all had lunch together, which was really nice. And I saw my mom, and I was talking to her. She was telling me the story about how her and my stepdad went to this concert at Blossom. And when she was telling me about it, I was like,
Like recently?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Some like classical old person thing.
We get to bring your own wine in.
Yeah, of course.
I've seen these
Yeah.
advertised. Like, you're allowed to bring like a basket of wine and
Right.
cheeses.
Exactly. Yeah, charcuterie boards. And
Yeah,
fucking Vino. Yeah,
Charcuterie board.
That's exactly what they were doing. And when she started telling the story, I started laughing. And she's like, what are you laughing about? And I was like, do you remember taking me to Blossom? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, do you remember what concert we went to? And she's like, yeah, we went to Green Day. And I was like, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And I go, you know why I was thinking of it? And she's like, no, why? And I go, Green Day is remastering the Dookie album.
No shit.
They're going to remaster and re-release the Dookie album.
Did I send you? So I don't mean to cut
That's
you off
right.
here. You can jump back in. But since we're on Green Day, did I send you? I think just last week, Green Day released their original demo of Basket Case.
No.
And it's complete. It's slowed down, and like the lyrics are all different.
Wow.
It's very interesting to listen to. I'll have to show you after we're done.
Definitely. I would definitely check that out. Mm-hmm. But I was laughing about it, and I'm like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's amazing. I did take you to that concert. And I'm like, yeah. You know why they're remastering? And she's like, no, why? And I go, because 30 fucking years ago.
Oh my God.
Is when Dookie came out.
So old.
So fucking old. And that's exactly what she said. She goes, holy shit, you're old.
Yeah, because we talked about this. We went to the same Green Day concert.
Right, exactly. But
As
she's
children.
like, yeah, you're old. And I'm like, I wasn't old enough to drive. You drove me there, so who's old now, you dumb bitch? Like, you fucking had to, you were the one that took me there, but that was my first ever concert.
I think that was mine as well.
Yeah.
That was my first concert.
I was like 12 years
My
old.
babysitter took me.
Nice.
Because like my babysitter was it was like my like uncle's girlfriend, fiance, whatever. Her daughter was in college, so she took me to the concert.
Nice.
Her and her friends would rotate babysitting me. They showed me like Nirvana, watching Clerks for the first time.
Oh, man.
At like 10 years old.
Yeah. Was she hot, this babysitter?
I mean, as far as I can remember, I mean,
Yeah.
being
I think when
10,
I was going to say, when you're 10, I think your babysitter's like almost always hot.
right? Yeah, they're college girls,
Right.
And then they had like another one of them was a dude and he used to wear like a fucking leather jacket and spikes.
So
and
he's cool as fuck.
Right, because he used to sit and play like Earthworm Jim with me.
Hell yeah.
But that's the first time he showed me who Korn was with their
Nice.
first album, KMFDM.
Yep.
And Charles Manson live in prison acoustic.
Wow. That's quite a selection.
Yeah, punk rock dude.
Wow. Speaking of firsts, I remember when you said Clerks. The first time I ever saw the movie Clerks, I lived in Greenwich Village, Manhattan, and this is how old I am. That they used to sell VHS tapes, and you could, if you were super upper echelon, you could order them to be delivered to your house.
Neat.
But I mean, they were like $75
Oh shit.
for a brand new VHS. And I was hanging out with my grandma Lita, my super Jewish grandma, and she called down to the fucking local video store and was like, "Send me whatever is super hot that kids love right now." And they were like, "No problem." And they sent us fucking Clerks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought because this is the same grandma that got you the Ace of Base CD.
that's the one. Yep.
So I thought it was gonna be like, "What's hot right now?" And then she
Yeah.
sends you like a VHS of like Bambi.
Right. No, this person was like, "Oh, this dude will definitely be down." And we watched it for the first 10 minutes, and she's like, "Why is it in black and white?" And I'm like, "Why don't you love that? Like,
Yeah.
you grew up in black and white, I'm pretty sure."
Before they were talkies.
Right, exactly. And then it starts with fucking Jay and Silent Bob, and it's like, I'm fucking that bitch, I'm fucking this, I'm fucking anything that moves. And I look at my grandma, and she's like, I'll be in the other. She's like, I'll be in the grand piano room. And I'm like, as well you should. I'm going to watch the rest of this because cursing is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in the ballroom.
Yeah, exactly.
In the garden.
Right. In the grand room. That's nice.
So, I mean, I remember the first time watching it as well. I was with the babysitter. She was getting ready to go to some cool college party, but while she was getting ready, I was hanging out watching it until, like, my folks got back.
That's awesome.
That was a fucking trip.
That was a wild movie.
It sure was, yeah.
And
there was so many jokes I obviously didn't pick up on.
Yeah.
And
so many jokes that were just so funny because we were so young.
Right.
Trying not to suck any dicks on the way to the parking lot. We're just like, suck dicks on the way to the parking. But now it's like, I know some girls that you have to tell that to sometimes as you get older.
So what we have, Green Day was both our first concert.
We were at the same concert.
Yeah.
Not together, but at the same concert.
First for Clerks.
Yeah.
First. I feel like we got a theme here. Do you want to?
I'm in.
You want to try figuring out what other first?
Yeah.
Like, what about the first time that you smoked a cigarette? Do you remember that?
I do.
Okay.
Yep. I smoked a Marlboro Red for my first cigarette from my quote unquote friend named Jesse Ross. He was not a good person now that I have that in recollection, but I do remember having my first, he basically goaded me into it. I had my first cigarette. It was a Marlboro Red, and I wasn't one of those people who like barfed or got sick, or I was just like, yeah, this is fine. And everybody was like, you look super cool with a cigarette.
How old were you?
I think I was 14.
Okay.
The first time I smoked, and I bought a pack of cigarettes the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was bearded enough to buy my own cigarettes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We used to have to go to, our friend's older sister worked at a little like marathon gas station, and she would sell us cigarettes.
I was always the guy that could buy everything. I had like a 5 o'clock shadow when I was like 12. So
I got friends that are like that.
Yeah, all my friends were like, dude, can you get us cigarettes? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I can pretend to be 18.
Also, I feel like,
problem.
Right. I also feel like they were also didn't really give as much of a fuck back then, too.
That's 100% true.
I mean, when I was like 7, I was going to the corner store and buying lottery tickets and shit for my grandpa.
Nobody gives a shit. Yeah, you could like bring a handwritten note.
Yeah. It's like pinned to my shirt.
Right.
As I'm like looking at the candy, they're like, come here, let me look at your shirt. And it's like, okay, here you go.
They're like, are you allowed to be in here? And you're like, yeah, my grandma wrote me a note.
Yeah.
And they're like, let me see it. And they read it, and it's like, grandma needs cigarettes. And I'm like, all right, honey. Here's your carton of Benson and Hedges for grandma. And I'm like,
your Virginia Slims.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I get a carton of Virginia Slims? They look down and you're like, this kid's not going to be smoking these.
Exactly.
He's got a grandma that lives nearby.
Exactly.
In walking distance.
So what about you? What was your first cigarette?
Mine was a Camel Light. I went bowling with my friend and his brother. Shit, what was his name? Adam something. I don't remember his last name. But we were hanging out just bowling. It was like a Friday night or something. And used to still obviously be able to smoke in places back then.
Yeah.
But he was smoking a Camel Light.
You could smoke anywhere back then, by the way. You could smoke on airplanes. You could smoke in hospitals. Like, you could smoke fucking anywhere. Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah, it was, we were sitting there hanging out. And me and my buddy were like waiting for like our turns to show up. And he like lights up a cigarette and he's like, you want one? I was like, nah, I'm good. And then he lights up another one. He's like, dude, just come on, have a smoke. And I was like, you know what? Both of my parents smoke. Let me try this out and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
And obviously I was coughing a whole bunch like that first time, but I was like, I'm not a pussy.
Right.
I can smoke this.
Right.
So then we were basically sharing cigarettes like all night because I think I slept over his house.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was basically sneaking cigarettes from like my buddy's grandma. Like we'd go to like my buddy also was smoking. We'd go to his grandma's house.
Sure.
She had a pack of cigarettes in literally every room of the house. Also,
That's
Virginia
exactly
Slims.
how my grandma was.
Yeah.
It was Benson and Hedges, but yeah.
Yeah, she had the Virginia Slims, and we'd smoke those. The behind her house was a golf course.
Nice.
And we'd hide out somewhere in the woods and then just smoke cigarettes.
Sure. My grandma was like that, but she didn't just have like packs around the house. She had like containers, like old ornate metal things. Like they looked like fancy shot glasses that would have like 9 cigarettes packed into them.
Interesting.
So you could just like pull one out. You know, if you could just walk into a room and she'd be like, "Oh, would you like a smoke?" They're right there.
Yeah.
And there would just be like fucking 9 cigarettes in every room.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days, man.
Mm-hmm. And here I am, still smoking to this day.
Smoking.
Should have kicked his
Fuck,
ass.
man.
Yeah. If it wasn't for that night. That night.
Right. So dumb. Smoking's terrible, by the way. Don't do that.
Who knows, though? Like, I'm sure at some party somewhere down the line I'd be like, all right, I'll try it.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course.
Later on, but I'm going to blame it on that night, and I blame it. Adam Jones. That was his name. Adam Jones.
Fuck you, Adam Jones.
Yeah.
Look what you did. Do you have any idea how much money you've cost Tony?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
So much money. Adam. Fuck
Adam,
you.
you piece of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you have emphysema. I'm just kidding. I really don't hope that.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so first cigarette.
All
right, so
you got one?
What was the first car you ever had?
The first car I had was a Beretta. It was like
Nice.
a maroon color. I don't remember what the year it was, but it was a little banged up.
Yeah.
It was given to me, but shortly after it kind of broke down, and then I went to. I was 18 at this time, so I went to JD Buyrider
Sure.
or JD Butt Raper,
Right.
to get to start paying for my own first car, which was a Ford Explorer. It was like goldish or
Nice.
bronzy colored looking ones. Yeah.
Did you have like the fancy Eddie Bauer package on it? Did you remember that shit when they had like luxury packages you could put on a car where you get like Eddie Bauer stitched into like the leather?
Oh no,
That was it.
No,
And it was like $8,000 more. It was so dumb.
I didn't have that. No,
So
it was.
dumb.
Yeah, no, it's just. I don't know, kind of just a piece of shit.
Sure.
You know, until it got repoed.
Oh shit! It got repoed.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was living out on my own, and you know,
I've never had anything repoed before, but when
that
I
was
was
the only time.
when I was living with a couple of party boys, this tow truck pulled up to the house, and me and my buddy Mike Daly ran outside. Like, what the fuck? Like, Mike grabbed a baseball bat, and we ran out into the driveway. He's like, "What the fuck are you guys?" And then Mike's like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "I know that guy from high school." And he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" It turns out they're old buddies, and they're like, "Yeah, we're here to repo your other roommate's motorcycle." And Mike's like, "That's cool. Do you guys need a hand?" And we ended up like helping them get the motorcycle like onto the flatbed of the truck so they could repo it. Yeah, but I've never had that happen. That'd be awful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was 18 at the time,
Sure.
maybe like 19. I moved out of my house at 18, so with rents and utilities and internet, and you know, I had a shitty girlfriend at the time. I was fucking paying for everything, and she's buying shit.
Sure.
So basically, it was like a place to live or somewhere to drive around, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
got repoed, and then I eventually got like a new car after that. And then I was fine. But
Yeah.
you know, my first car that I was paying for myself.
Sure.
What about you?
My first car I bought off my mom, but she sold it to me for like $1,000. It was a 1984 BMW 318i.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's very specific.
It was awesome, by the way. Super awesome car, and it started off being like cherry red, but it had sat out so long that it turned into this like flat burnt orange color, and it was fucking awesome. It
Yeah.
had one of those. It wasn't a sunroof, but it had a moonroof, so it had that little thing that comes down that you have to twist
Oh, yeah.
to open up, which was badass. It had a tape deck that you could remove the whole thing, like to put in the trunk,
Yeah.
so people wouldn't steal your radio.
Oh yeah, I remember you used to
Yeah.
have to do that. You used to take off the face of your
Right.
CD player.
Yeah, but this was the whole thing. Like, you would pull out, I mean, it was like probably 10 inches long and 5 inches across. Like, you would pull the whole radio out. There would just be a hole in your car.
Whoa.
And you would leave the whole thing in your trunk or put it in your purse
Under a seat or
whatever.
something, yeah.
Something. But yeah, that was my first car, and I fucking loved it. That was a great car. I would have taken that. I was supposed to sell it to a buddy of mine, and literally the night before, I was with my girlfriend, and it was her birthday. We got rear-ended on the way home, and the car ended up getting totaled out. And I was selling it to this dude for $1,800, and it got totaled out, and they gave me $3,400 for it. It was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Whoa. I had one of those.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I forever I've been buying like, you know, used cars that are older, and there was this old lady that was selling, it was like a fucking shit, I don't know, like a 98. Fuck, I can't remember what kind of car it was, but it was in like supreme condition.
Oh yeah, old lady
no
cars.
dents,
Right.
no rust. It's been sitting in their like garage, which I think they
She's
had
been
like
driving
a
it to like CVS and back
that's
for
it
40
church
years.
grocery stores.
exactly.
Yeah, it had like 50,000 miles on it, and I think I paid $1,200.
Nice.
And that thing was fucking awesome. Like no rust, no dents, no nothing. That car was awesome. And I think I had it for about 6 months. And I was on my way to work going 480 west. And there was a truck on the oncoming part of the highway. And a fucking tire came off the truck, bounced over the median wall, smashed into the hood of the truck in front of me. And that thing fucking swerved. The tire wrapped underneath it, and I was like, "Fuck, there's nothing I can do here."
Right.
And it just fucking, I smashed it, and it fucking
shit.
blasted out my back tire. Transmission fluid pissing everywhere. Both my airbags go off. I'm like, motherfucker, man.
That's awful. You see that shit on the internet all the time. That stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
And like that's why I wear seatbelts. It's not because I'm worried about myself getting into an accident. It's because I'm like, someone's going to lose a fucking tire, and it's going to hit my car,
Right.
and my car's going to get thrown 10 feet in the air, and I'm going to die.
It's always dumb shit.
Yeah, crazy dumb shit.
Yeah. And so, like, and I literally, my stepdad literally just changed all my entire brake line like 3 days before.
That's always what happens.
Yeah.
You always do something to your car right before it gets raped like that. Like this dude, Nate, that I was going to sell it to, Nate White, I worked with him at Dave & Buster's. And I told him I was selling the BMW, and he was all about it. He took it for a test drive. I was working at Dave & Buster's. He was gone for like 3 hours. Like I was starting to freak out, like he stole my car. He came back 3 hours later. It was waxed.
Whoa.
Like, he waxed it like himself. He was like, "I love this."
Just waxing off your car.
Yeah, he's like, "I detailed it. I waxed it," and I'm like, "Yeah, baby, it's yours. Like we're gonna transfer titles on this day and the night before it gets fucking totaled." And I'm just like, he calls me, he's like, "Hey, what the fuck? It's 11 o'clock in the morning. You're supposed to be here at 10:30. And I'm like, "Dude, I just woke up. I got in a huge car accident last night, and you can't have the car now."
That's fucked.
Yeah, he was so pissed.
Yeah, once mine got like junked, I had to wait for and also the person that was driving the truck that was responsible, the dude fucking took off.
No shit.
So he didn't even stop. But apparently the dude's license plate fell off. That's how the cops
caught him.
found it. That's how we got it figured out. And then that dude's insurance paid for like a rental for like a week and a half or whatever.
Right.
2 weeks, and once I got paid out, I got like $2,500.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, holy shit, I made money off of this car.
Exactly. That's how.
But it was in
how I.
perfect fucking condition.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, the other great thing that happened that night was, again, I was taking my. It was her 21st birthday, and I was driving her home, and I got rear-ended, and the car was just fucking smashed in. It was still drivable, so I drove it back to the house, and this is where I lived with those party boys, and of course it was late at night, so I didn't see them. So I just hung out with this chick Andrea that I was dating, and it was her birthday. We banged. We wake up in the morning. I don't tell my roommates anything. I'm just sitting out there smoking like a fucking 3-foot bong because I'm 20 years old and it doesn't matter. And so they come out and they're like, "Hey, how was your night?" And I'm like, "Fine." Like I just don't tell them shit. And because I know they're going to see the car in the driveway that's fucking 3 feet shorter than it used to be because it's smashed in. And then I hear Andrea, and she's like, "Dave," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Come out here." And she comes out, and she's just wearing only like one of my T-shirts, and they're like, "Yeah, did you guys have a banger of a night?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, we did." And she comes out, and she's like, "I can't move my neck," and they're both like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" and give me high fives, and I throat banged her so hard.
Oh my god,
she got whiplash from that. And then I'm like, "No, you guys might want to go look in the driveway." They're like, "Holy shit, that car's fucked up." But yeah, I got $3,200 for it.
Holy shit,
it was awesome.
Since you're just talking about the smoking a giant bong, when's the first time you got high smoking weed?
Again, I probably, I think I was a little bit of a late bloomer as far as that goes. Probably 15.
Okay.
This is the first time I smoked
That's
weed.
not what I thought you were going to say for late bloomer, that I'm an extremely late bloomer, but we'll get to that. Go on. Yeah.
I mean, all my friends were smoking weed at like 13.
Yeah, I feel like everybody I know was smoking during those like early to mid teenage years.
Yeah, but I was always that guy. I was like, no, I was like, it's for dummies. Like, I don't know.
You didn't want to be like flat on the couch like the commercial.
Right. That's the thing, is that there were so many those PSAs that came out about weed back then.
Yeah.
And they were hilarious, by the way. If you haven't revisited those, they're great.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was one that started before the back to VHS tapes. Before Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on VHS, there was a PSA about not smoking weed.
Yeah, I remember those.
And it was the kid, like, he's in, like, I don't know, middle school. And this bully comes up and he's like, goes into his locker and he just pulls out a bag full of joints, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And he's like, do you want one of these? And the kid's like, I don't think I do. He's like, I don't know, he looks like he's 9. He's like, I don't think I do. And the guy's like, what are you, a chicken? And then they play some song, do their little PSA, and then the little kid slams the locker door shut, and he goes, I'm not a chicken, you're a turkey.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it.
I remember that.
I'm not a chicken, you're a turkey.
That.
Yeah, and I'm like, my friends like, we're 12, and they're like, hey, do you want to smoke weed? And I'm like, fucking turkeys.
Wasn't there one that there's like 2 kids that like just got high smoking weed? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'm
you
sure.
know what? We should do a little cheers.
Yeah. Let's have an alcohol shot. Yeah, cheers.
But there's like 2 kids that were like one kid's house that just got super stoned, and didn't they like, oh, this is like my dad's guns.
Uh-huh.
And then the one kid's like, I'm invincible. The kid like the camera like cuts over. The kid's like, no, yeah. And the gun goes off, and it's like, smoking weed kills your brain.
There was another one that was a mashup of like a weed PSA, and it was also anti-video games, saying that video games made you violent.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it was like the kids are playing a video game and like they get stoned, and then the one kid forgets he's in a video game and like hits the other kid in the head with a brick and then murders him. Like, you just see the kid and he's like, no, and the screen turns red as the kid's like holding up a brick, and they're like, don't get high and play video games or you might murder your friend with a brick. I'm like, the best game that was out right then was like Tetris. I'm like, could you guys settle the fuck down?
Yeah.
Like, nobody's like, dude, I'm gonna kill you with Tetris, and then in real life, like,
yeah, if you lose, you die in real life. Exactly. It's like a Saw.
Exactly.
And then they had the classic one with like, this is your brain with the eggs, and then they crack it, and the fry's like, this is your brain on drugs.
Right.
It's like, if you're fucking stoned, you're looking at those egg sticks and you're like, damn, that looks delicious.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have some eggs.
Yeah, actually, I'll have some eggs.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
So, sorry, we got sidetracked per usual, but you said you were around like 15 when you first started.
Yeah.
Tried weed.
Yeah, a buddy of mine. I think again it was that same guy, Jesse. I was in a very small group, and I moved to Bay Village when I was 12. And Bay Village, very small town. There's only, I think our whole high school had like 700 people in it. I was one of 4 Jews. There were 2 black people. There's no diversity whatsoever. All these kids have been going to school together since they were like in fucking preschool. So they all know each other. So I moved there when I'm 12. I'm fat. I have a beard, and I'm Jewish. And they're just like, oh, there's a new person we can all pick on. So I didn't have a lot of friends. And I had this.
So you were Jonah Hill before Jonah Hill.
Yeah, before it was cool. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I had this small group of friends, and so I basically did whatever the tide was going. I went with them. So this guy Jesse was leading the pack, and yeah, when he was like, "Hey, we're getting high," eventually I was like, "Fine, I'll try it." And I remember smoking the first time, and I remember not getting high the first time I smoked. I remember hitting it a couple times, and being like, "Yeah, I'm fine, whatever." Stupid.
Getting high sucks.
Yeah, no, you guys pay for this shit. It's so dumb.
It's so weak, dude.
And then like a week later, I tried it again, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm high. And then I don't think I've stopped smoking weed. I think I've smoked weed every day since then.
Since you were 15?
Since for like the last 27 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. Wow. I smoked weed this morning. I smoked weed last night. Yeah, every
day. Weed every day.
I don't smoke weed like, I remember
wish we had a button for that.
I remember people in my high school, and also people in my life right now, that like smoke weed all day.
Yeah.
And I never understood how you could do that.
Just functioning.
Yeah. How can you be? Exactly. I can't do it. First of all, I'm like the cover of Stoned magazine when I get high. My eyes go comically red. My face like slides off of my fucking skull. My reaction time is so slow. I'm just like, yeah, what's up? You guys want to get something to eat? Everybody's like, would you settle down on the weed?
I just saw a
please?
commercial with eggs.
Right, yeah. You know what would be amazing is if we got chickens. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking? I'm like,
Did I mean turkey?
Right, exactly.
Fuck, I don't remember anymore.
So I don't get high in public, but I love getting high by myself at home and watching funny shit. I laugh till I cry and then I fall asleep.
Huh.
It's fucking dope, man.
Yeah, I know a lot of friends that are that same boat.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just not for me. I don't like it at all.
I know, you've said that.
I've tried it a handful of times, and it's not for me. I just don't like being, like, not in control.
Weed is bonkers now.
I've heard.
People have been fucking focusing on weed for the last 30 years, and it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like outer space weed.
Yeah, I've been told.
Oh, man.
And also witnessed. We have our one buddy that carries around the pen.
Oh yeah.
And we had like a little party, and one of our other buddies is like, "Sure, I'll try it." And they're like, "Dude, it's really strong, so like, be easy." And he's like, "Whatever, I'm not pussy."
Right.
And then within like a half hour, he just fucking was just fucking stupid. Yeah. And we're like, okay, well, we're all going to the bar. And then he's like, I'm just going to chill here with Taco. Yeah. And literally we all left him here, went to the bar, came back, and he was in the spare room sleeping, and Taco was just in there snugging with him.
Love it.
Yeah.
I remember when I was with Wildo, and his dad, and I was helping him move. His dad was moving out of their condo in Lakewood, and I went outside to have a cigarette with Wildo, and then I was inside, and I was talking to his dad, Billy, and I was hitting the pen. And Billy's like, what are you doing? He's like, why are you outside smoking cigarettes and inside vaping? And I go, oh, this is weed. And he goes, that's weed? Like, he had never heard of a pen before.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, can I try it? And I'm like, of course you can. But just so you know, this is not the weed you used to smoke in the fucking 70s. This is fucking brand new, like, 2010 weed is back when this was happening. And he's like, I'll be fine. I'm like, push the button, hold it down for 2 seconds, hit it hard for 3 seconds, and then stop. Like, that'll be enough.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not a pussy. And I mean, he hits it like
famous last words.
Yeah, dude. Like, as
I'm not
hard
a
as he can for like 15 seconds. And I'm like, dude, stop.
Yeah.
And he just lets out this plume of smoke. And I just take the pen away from him.
Movie.
Yeah, I take the pen away from him. I'm like, you'll be good. He's like, from one hit. And I'm like, yeah. So I go, I'm helping Wildo. We're boxing up stuff. We take a load of stuff down to the basement. And then I come back upstairs, and he's like holding the armrests of his recliner, like white knuckled. And his way of thanking us, he was going to take us to Lakewood Village Tavern and get us beers and burgers. And I'm like, Billy, you ready to go to the village and get burgers? And he's like, you're going to have to bring the village to me.
Oh, my God.
Like, I don't.
That's not how that works.
I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't think we can do that.
How about you just give us your credit card
exactly,
and then we'll go?
Exactly. And I was like, why don't you just give us some cash and I'll just go buy. And he just literally reached into his pocket and just handed me his wallet.
Yeah, you
just
can't
the whole wallet.
It.
He was just like, it's in there somewhere. Here you go.
Yeah,
here's
just
my
take
ID,
whatever you want.
Here's my social security card. I'm not sure what they're going to require. Here's all my cash.
I've never been to a bar before.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget how it works.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Space weed.
My first time. I was, you said late bloomer at 15. I was 23.
The first time you smoked weed?
The first time I smoked weed.
Loser.
I don't know. What a pussy, right? I was like, I am a pussy. No, I mean, all the way up to that point, man, I was always just content with beer and cigarettes. Like, like booze and smokes. That's all I need. Hanging out at parties. Someone's like, you want this joint? I'm like, no, I'm good, dude.
Sure.
I got my booze and I got my smokes. All good to go. But, my band, we had just played a show at the Agora.
Mm-hmm.
We had a rep from Victory Records come to our merch table asking for a demo. They enjoyed the show. We handed off the demo to them. And it was also 420, conveniently.
Smart.
And so we went back to my house afterwards to like celebrate. We're like, damn, that was a kick-ass show. Fucking a rep from Victory Records came, was interested in us. Like, this is fucking awesome. So they were all like rolling up joints or packing bowls or all that goofy ass shit. And they're like, dude, Tony, you have to fucking smoke with us for the first time. I was like, no fucking way. I'm like, fuck you guys. I'm like, I'm just going to drink and smoke cigarettes. And they're like, come on, man, you got to smoke. You got to smoke. I was like, no. And then after a little while, they're still smoking. They're like, come on, dude, just fucking hit it once. I was like, okay, I'll try it once. So I took a couple hits. Nothing happened. And this kind of kept going until I finally got like super stoned.
Yeah.
And me and like my guitar player were like dying laughing over some fucking stupid shit I imagined at the time. And then they're like, okay, well, we got to go. And I was like, wait,
right.
You can't leave
too
yet.
high right now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm really high.
Yeah.
You can't, guys.
Yeah. I'm not going anywhere.
You can't leave.
Right.
And they're like, no, we're going to leave. It's like 2 a.m. and it was like a Thursday or something like that. And I'm like.
Did you have to go home?
It was my house.
You were 23.
Yeah.
Oh
I lived on my own.
I'm remembering like first time I'm smoking weed, like I have to go home and face
do
my
this.
mom. You're like 23. You're like I have my own house.
So I mean that kind of happened with me getting drunk for the first time, which we can get down to drinking since we're on this. But
yeah.
So they leave, and I'm like, fuck.
Stoned and alone.
So I fucking went to the kitchen and made steakums.
Oh, yeah.
And then I put on America's Funniest Videos because it was on Netflix at the time.
Oh, my God.
And I fell asleep on the couch.
Okay. So
that was my first time getting stoned.
That's amazing. Just a quick side note. This has nothing to do with first or anything. The other night, like literally 2 nights ago, I was going up to bed with Jen, and she's like, we were a little wasted. And I'm like, you want to watch something? And she's like, yeah, we can watch something. And then she's like, I'm going to fall asleep. And then usually if she's falling asleep, I'll go and watch TV by myself because I'm up all fucking night long.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, just put on whatever. How about America's Funniest Home Videos? And I go, are you fucking kidding me?
Hell yeah, dude.
And I go and like scroll through our fucking streaming services, and she's on like season 16. Like she's been watching America's Funniest Home Video like every day.
That's
for the
amazing.
Last, like year. I didn't know about it.
That's hilarious.
Like, yeah, and it's, by the way, it wasn't. None of it was funny, and she's like dying.
Like
laughing.
the old like Bob Saget.
No, it was the newer one that fucking sucks. I wish it was Bob Saget. That would have been better.
They had a bunch of different hosts. It didn't. What's his face? Carlton
brothers.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, that dude
sucks.
Because I know like Carlton was doing them for a little while too. From
Fresh Prince.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but it's some guy that sucks. But I was just laughing about it.
That's hysterical.
Yeah. All right, so first time drunk. Fuck, I don't know if I remember that. I mean, I remember what I remember what I drank.
I definitely remember my first time getting drunk.
Yeah. What did you drink?
So we were probably about 14-ish, 15. My parents split, and me, my mom, and my sister, we moved in with my buddy's family temporarily. And at the time, shortly after, he just got his confirmation. And so they had like a big party or whatever, and then like a week goes by, and we noticed that there was a 12-pack of Budweisers down in the basement.
Nice.
And we're like, huh, these have been sitting here for a while. They probably won't remember those even being there.
Right.
So we fucking loaded up the backpack with all of the beers, and it's like right down the street from like the house, kind of behind. Was a big construction site. They were working on like a brand new like cul-de-sac area.
Sure. And
like none of the houses or any of that shit was built. It was just land. So it's nighttime, and we walk over there and start pounding Budweisers.
Yeah.
And it started to rain, so we fucking were like literally sitting into what the fuck, like the what's like the like construction thing. It's got like the giant scoop in the front.
Oh, like the construction vehicle?
Yeah. Like,
not like a forklift, but I know what you're talking about.
I forget what it's called. Yeah, some sort of excavator. Yeah, it's got the giant, like not like just the claw one, but like the full scoop.
Yeah, like it's like a bench.
Yeah. So we sat in there drinking the beers because it started pissing down rain.
Nice.
We both smashed down 6 beers, hammered as fuck.
Oh man,
this is the first time getting drunk, and I was like, we're like, oh, we got to go back to the house, you know? So we're like, oh, shit. So we start, like, walking back. I'm, like, stumbling around and, like, barely able to walk. And he's like, here, jump on my back. I'll carry you.
Smart.
And so I jump on his back, and we literally just fall completely backwards.
Of course.
Into a bunch of mud and shit. I had, like, a plain white tee on.
Right.
And we finally stumble our way back to the house laughing. We open up the door, and it's like when you walked into the house, there was, like, a few stairs that went down into the basement, and then a bunch of stairs that went up into like the living room, dining room, kitchen area. And we walk in, and his mom's like, "Where the fuck were you guys?" Like, because we didn't have like cell phones, I don't think at the time. So yeah, we didn't have cell phones yet. So she's like, "Where the fuck were you guys? Like, I've been worried sick. I've been gone for hours. It's nighttime. I didn't know if you guys were killed or what the fuck." And so he immediately leaps down the stairs into the basement and fucks off. and I'm trying to get up the stairs, like falling apart, basically.
He just bones you there with his mom? Like,
Yeah.
he just fucked there with his all dirty as shit.
Yeah.
Covered in mud.
Yeah, got mud all over. Yeah. And she's like, are you guys fucking drunk? And I was like, what?
What does that even mean?
Yeah, I was like, what? No, I'm just really tired.
That's for losers.
Crazy.
I think I just have the flu.
Yeah. I've seen those commercials with the eggs and stuff. It's like, that's for weed, you idiot. And so then she's like, I was like, no, I was like, I'm just really tired. We were over at so-and-so's house hanging out playing video games. And she like goes to bed and I'm like, holy fuck, like this sucks. Yeah. And like his sister wakes up and she's like, are you guys fucking drunk? Mm-hmm. And we're like, yeah, don't tell.
Right.
You know? And I am like, I'm rolling all over this and like, those two are like, let's put Tony to bed. So I'm like laying in there and I'm like, keep like sitting up and can't go to sleep. And I go back out into the living room and my dude is laying on his belly on the floor with his arms up, like, you know, nice. Around him. And he's like, I don't feel so good. And then he's just like, like his face is like inches from the carpet. Oh, God. And just all of this puke all over the floor. And he's like, Jessica, his sister, he's like, I need help. Yeah. And so she's like, oh my God. And then so she fucking comes in, puts him on the couch. I'm laying on the couch. She's cleaning up the puke. We wake up. We were supposed to go to Cedar Point the next day. Apparently, I don't have good luck with fucking Cedar Point.
No, you sure don't. Right.
And so we're obviously way too hungover. So we told his parents that we just were like, we're tired, don't feel well, we're up late. Right. We're just gonna hang out. You guys go, which should probably been very suspicious that a couple of 14 and 15-year-olds
the best time ever at Cedar Point. Right. I'd like to stay home and nap it out with my homie.
Yeah. They did go and get us Arby's for lunch, so that was dope. But then they fucked off. So that was my first time getting drunk.
Wow. That's impressive. I don't really remember my first time. I remember what I drank. I didn't drink beer the first time I got drunk. I drank Southern Comfort. SoCo.
I didn't drink beer at first, too.
Yeah, I went straight to booze, which, I mean, if you know me now, I still don't drink beer. I still only drink booze. But yeah, I do remember my first time going home hammered, and that was a fucking nightmare. Like,
go on.
It was the first time that we had.
You have my attention.
We dipped into 151.
Oof.
Because we had the classic mistake of thinking, well, if it's like double the proof, we'll only drink half as much.
You think.
So a bottle will last the four of us the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Instead of just Friday.
Ugh.
I drank so fucking much. I fell down my dude Brendan's stairs, like slid down them on my back, and was laughing the whole time. And I remember, like, 3 days later, the bruises all over me, like a fucking nightmare. My girlfriend at the time, Rachel, I called her to pick me up, and she came and she picked me up, and I'm like, you gotta take me home. She had this beautiful 76 Mustang that her parents had bought her, and I get in the passenger seat, and she's like, all right. Like, we're parked outside my dude Brent's house, and she's like, all right, you are fucking hammered. And I'm like, hammered.
Yeah.
And she's like, listen, if you're going to barf, just say stop. And I go, stop. She hadn't even started driving yet.
Yeah.
We were still parked on the side of the street. And I just opened my door, and I puked everywhere. I did that probably 4 times on our 10-minute ride home, and then had to lie to my parents and tell them, I just have the flu, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I ate something bad. Some bad chicken.
I was a bunch of oysters or what. Liar. Yeah, and then just fucking went to sleep. And then I remember, I don't recall getting up in the middle of the night and throwing up in the bathroom. Like where I lived, my mom and my sister both lived upstairs. And I was the only person who had a bedroom on the main floor, so that bathroom was mine and the guests.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any guests over, so I just barfed in the fucking tub, in the sink, on the toilet. I just barfed all over that. I just went back to bed, like, it's my fucking bathroom. And then strangely, my mom is like, what smells like barf? And goes in the bathroom and just sees it covered in barf. And then she's banging on my door, waking me up. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? You got to clean all this up. And I'm like, if I smell barf, I'm going to barf.
Gosh, that reminds me of a really great story. If we have time, if not, I'll save it for another episode.
Yeah. That was awful.
What about, that sounds absolutely disgusting. Do you remember your first, like, blackout? Or at least what you remember of people telling you?
No. No, I mean, I guess the first blackout I can recall would have been my 21st birthday. And
Okay.
I just remember.
Wait. Hold on.
Yeah.
Before, because I was also just thinking about 21st, because it's technically the first time being in a bar.
Yeah.
Before we do that, what about, did you have a first time drinking in a bar illegally?
Oh, yeah. I drank at
remember
bars. It was called G's Place. It was in Fairview Park. It was right across from a bar called Stampers. And
yeah, I know
you remember
exactly.
Stampers?
Yeah, I grew up in Fairview.
G's Place was right across the street. It burned down a bunch of years later, but I remember going there with a lot of people, like since I was probably 18 years old, or not 19, definitely somewhere around 18 years old. And I was drinking there since then, and I had my 21st birthday party there, which was so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like just going to a bar and celebrating that you've been illegally drinking there for 3 fucking years.
Mine's similar story, but go on.
So dumb. So I told everybody that was going there, they're like, yeah, we should have it at G's Place. And I'm like, we can't have my fucking 21st birthday there. I've been drinking there for 2.5 years. And they go, we'll just say it's your 25th birthday. And I'm like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And they got like banners and balloons that all say 25. And then they got me so fucking drunk at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon that when I showed up at G's Place, I was knocking on blacked out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, guess who just turned 21? And they're like, well, Jesus Christ, the owner's right there. Now he knows that's the end. Like, why do we get
At least
balloons
you
and
didn't get in
banners,
trouble
you dumb
for it.
shit? Yeah,
Yeah.
the owner's like, fuck you, asshole. And I'm like, fuck you. The last thing I remember that night, my buddy Sion, he was at the bar, and he calls me over, and he bought me 2 shots, 1 clear and 1 brown. And he's like, what do you want first? And I was like, give me the brown. And it was fucking 151.
151's clear.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Brown.
No.
151 rum?
Oh, okay. Fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Gross.
You're right. It
So
is.
I
You're
drank
right.
that.
The Bacardi
And then
151 rum. You're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
And then I'm like, I need a chaser because it's so hot and disgusting. And I'd already drank like martinis and margaritas and shit. I was all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, give me a chaser. And he hands me the clear shot. It was Beef Eater gin,
Oof.
room temperature.
Yeah.
So I chased 151 with gin, and I just went, ugh, and I go, Sion, I'm going to go take a piss, and then I'm going to beat the fucking shit out of you when I get back. And I remember I went into the bathroom, I took a piss, I was washing my hands, somebody walked in, I gave them I don't really know you casual nod, and then I grabbed out paper towels from the dispenser, I did a hook shot to throw them into the trash can, and then I woke up in my bed next to my very angry girlfriend. And she was fucking pissed. And I'm like, what are you so mad about? And she's showing me pictures. It looks like I took pictures with all my friends. I don't realize until like we zoom in on them a little bit that I'm dead to the world. I'm not conscious. They're holding me up in these pictures.
Yeah, it's like hangover photos.
Yeah.
Like the movie The Hangover, like the end where they're showing all the photos.
Exactly. And I'm like, well, did we at least fuck? And she's like, you tried. And I'm like, God.
Tried smushing it in.
Exactly. Like shooting pool with a
Playing
rope.
jelly and jams, trying to jam my dick into your vagina.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like trying to feed the meter with an oyster. So it just keeps on sliding down. Yeah. And she's like, you tried. And I'm like, fuck. Yeah. And I was like, I'm never going to drink again. And she's like, that's a great idea. It didn't stick, though. Yeah. What about you?
Well, real quick, yeah, I'm ready. You want to do it for another shot?
Yeah.
Since we're on the talk of booze?
Yeah, let's black it
Salud.
up. Fuck yeah. Sheesh.
Sheesh. So, the first time illegally drinking at a bar, I was about 19, probably shortly after my car got repoed. I was living in Elyria at the time, but a couple of friends of mine were living here in Lakewood. They just moved here, and they're like, yo, there's so many cool places, like all these bars everywhere.
Sure.
And they're like, they came and like picked me up, and they're like, I'm going to take you to some Lakewood bars. They brought us to, ding, ding,
Iggy's.
the Richland.
Okay. Duh.
So this is when the Richland, it was on the
Other side.
The bar was on the other side. It was very
The sandwich side.
dark, and now it's dark again now. But yeah, the small sandwich side,
Right.
Because the other side was like the pool table and
Right.
dartboards. So basically, how it worked is we'd walk in, I'd go take a piss. I'm doing finger quotations, and then me and like my other buddy PRK, we would sit on the other side because he was also a little younger than me.
What's PRK stand for?
Punk Rock Kyle.
Okay.
And
because I had a friend named PRD, but it was Puerto Rican Dave. But I was just checking to see if you had a Puerto Rican friend. But, okay,
that would have been fun.
Yeah.
So we would sit on the other side. Then they would just grab beers and then bring them back. And then we drink them. And then after having a beer or two, then we just walk up to the bar. I'm like, oh, yeah, can I get another one of these?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, once you get your first one, you're good.
Right. You know, and then we met Rob shortly after. You know, it still didn't have, was like selling cold cuts or nothing like that
What
then.
an asshole.
Yeah. Especially since it says Richland Cafe.
Yeah, which they don't even have coffee.
Right.
Fucking cocksucker.
So that went on for a couple years, and then once I turned, well, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. So I was still living in Elyria when I was turning 21, and I turned 21 at midnight. And about 10:30, I walked down the street to my buddy's house, and all of our friends are there, and everyone's older than me. There's, you know, in our group of friends, there was like 9 of us total, like our close friends that like shared tattoos and shit. There was like 9 of us total. All of them were all older than me. I was the baby. So they're like, here you go, old boy. Here's a nice 40 of High Life. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And I start pounding it, thinking we're just going to have like a little party here till midnight. And it gets to be like 11:30. And they're like, let's go to the bar. And I was like, but I have to wait a half hour. And they go, that's the point. We're going to drink and you get to watch. And I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
So we walked down to the little...
It's a fun rite of passage, though.
Right.
Yeah.
And the bar was like literally like almost across the street. And we go in there and they're all drinking and I'm getting a phone calls from like our friends out of town and so forth, wishing the happy birthdays. And midnight hits. I was like, let's fucking go. Midnight. Time to drink. Where's my beer at?
Right.
And my buddy goes, oh no, the bartender goes, here you go, bud. Double shot of Jack on me. And I was like, ugh, that's disgusting. And I'm like, my buddy Mikey sitting next to me, I go, hey, bud, you want to get me like a High Life to wash this down? He goes, oh, I thought about it, but instead I got you this mind eraser.
Oh, God.
And for those of you that don't know what a mind eraser is, it's like one of those like smaller plastic cups, usually about that size, but it's several boozes all mixed into one.
Yeah. It's just filled with garbage.
Yeah.
It's filled with garbage, liquor, but a bunch of mixers.
Yeah, so it tastes fruity or whatever.
Sure.
But the whole point of it is to drink it from top to bottom through a straw without stopping. You gotta chug the whole thing.
Right.
So I'm like, motherfucker, okay, we could do this. So I take my double shot of Jack, pound the mind eraser. I'm like, ah, God, that was fucked. And I was like, okay, guys, I'm ready for my beer now. And my other buddy's like, oh, well, here's a ruby slipper shot. And then it was like, here's some like grape bombs. And here's this. And then I was like, oh, my gosh, this is so many shots. And my one buddy, Nathan, goes, let's do a snake bite. And I was like, and again, and this is another first. And I was like,
fucking
okay.
Yukon Jack.
Yeah, and it's like lime juice. So we fucking take the shot. And I'm already half in the bag now. And I swallow it down. I was like,
yep. I'm just renting that guy.
Yeah, and my hair was like long, like down to my nipples at the time. I was like, I gotta go. So I like run to the bathroom. I like have to hold my own hair.
That's so sad.
I started,
It's the most depressing thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I have
so
to
I held my own hair.
Yeah, while I was puking.
While I barfed. On my birthday.
Yeah, so I had to hold my own hair puking. My dude Mikey runs in and snaps a fucking photo of me doing it.
Doesn't help you. Just takes a picture.
Right. And of course gets it printed, gets a big, large version of it. So finally I'm like, God damn, I was like, I hit the reset button. I was like, okay, I am ready for a fucking beer. No more goddamn shots.
Yeah.
So finally get beers in, and it's basically I stand up and it all fucking hits me. I can't even fucking walk.
Yeah.
Thank God I lived just like 5 minutes away. So I go arm in arm with 2 buddies, and we walk back to the apartment. We unlock the front door. There's 27 steps to get up to my apartment.
You counted.
I get up like 4 and fall down. Sure. So Timmy naturally grabs me by my wrists and drags me up my back up all the other like 22 stairs.
The fucking the bruises I had on my back from sliding down the stairs.
Yeah.
You got pulled up them.
I got pulled up the stairs. Nice. So I'm like, I was like, oh, thanks for the lift. You know, I'm like, how much do I owe you?
Right.
You know, and then and again, I was living with the shitty girlfriend at the time. she unlocks the door, and I see the cat, and I like drop to my hands and knees and fucking chase this cat down the hallway.
Sure.
My buddy's like, "What the fuck? Like, where was all this energy when?"
Kitty time.
Yeah, like I was trying to get your ass up the stairs.
Right.
So I fucking so at that time we were painting the bedroom, so like the bed was actually in the living room, and we had this like counter that kind of came out as kind of like a little bar-y kind of counter that comes out of the kitchen. And so I had my alarm clock set there, and I fucking laid down and I set the alarm because I had to work the next day.
Oh, God.
And at this time, I think I was like mowing lawns.
Ew. You do like physical labor in the next day?
Right. So I fucking set my alarm, and mind you, it's about probably bar close, like around 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I fucking pass out. Oh, actually, when I was taking my pants off, I did hit the cable for the clock, and it fell off, hit me in the face. But I pass out in the bed. It's basically in a blink of an eye, the alarm's going off. And it's like, fuck. And I jump up, and I hit the alarm, and I look over, and my girlfriend at the time is sleeping on the couch. I was like, hey. And she's like, what? And I was like, why are you sleeping on the couch? She's like, I don't know, because one of us pissed the bed last night.
Oh.
And I feel my pants. I was like, that'd be me.
That was me.
Yeah. And then I look at the clock. I was like, I technically have 10 more minutes to sleep.
Yeah.
I laid back down, passed out.
Pants?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was in the front, so I laid on my back.
Sure.
So, and then I got up, took a shower, and I went to go leave to go to work. Fucking fuzzed as all hell. The truck wouldn't start.
Nice.
The only time that I believe in Jesus. I was like, thank you, Jesus.
This is no longer my fault.
Yeah. And so I called my boss. I was like, hey, truck's not starting. And he's like, all right, I'll send the other dudes over there. So they come to my house, and as they're trying to figure out what's going on with the truck, I'm just sleeping in the truck.
Sure.
I'm like, boys, it's my birthday. I'm fucking hungover as fuck. You deal with it. And basically, I'm kind of going in and out of sleep. They leave. They come back, and they're like, okay, well, we can't fix the fucking truck. We don't know what's going on with it. I was like, so we're not working today? And they're like, no. I'm like,
day off. Then?
Awesome. I'm going upstairs and going to fucking bed.
Right.
That was my 21st. But hold on.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to get to this because being legally 21, I shortly moved to Lakewood. And I've already been going to the Richland for multiple years, right? Because I was 21 like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I get in there, and we're all ganged up for the birthday because I lived right down the street. And Rob's like, happy birthday, dude. And I was like, thanks. He's like, how old are you? I was like, 23. And he's like, that's crazy because everyone's saying it's your 21st. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What a bunch of drunk idiots.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I'm 21. And he's like, you've been drinking here for 2 years illegally. I go, sorry?
What are you going to do about it now?
Yeah, I was like,
now.
And I told him, I go, listen, you didn't get in trouble, right? And I was like, I'm cool, dude. Like, I wasn't going to narc on you. You let me drink here. Well, I mean, you had to because you thought I was 21, but.
Yeah, don't fix the barn if the horse already left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's already over.
Right.
Yeah. Holy shit. So we have very similar life travels.
Yeah.
Of drinking when we shouldn't be at places we shouldn't be drinking.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. And you know what's funny? As we get older, we don't stop getting super drunk on our birthdays. We're just better about planning. Like, I got so drunk I knew I was going to get so drunk for my birthday at 42 that I took a whole week off of work.
It's smart.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're fucking 19 and you're like, oh, I'm going to get drunk, you're like, oh, I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm not going to have any money.
Yeah.
But now I'm 42 and I'm like,
I got money, bitch.
I have money. I have enough money to not go to work for a week.
Get all that Jew money.
That's goddamn right. Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah, I typically I play it smart because I love doing like the beer crawls and shit and what have yous for my birthdays.
Yeah.
I don't take like as many shots, and I just make sure to eat throughout the day. But we'll start like I'll probably crack a beer open at like 10 a.m.
I was gonna say 11
so.
o'clock.
Yeah, 11 in the morning. Yeah.
Hell fucking yeah.
And
I'll
go.
Day you can start with a beer or a
shower beer.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like just a morning whatever. Like I'll chug one of Jen's White Claws. I don't drink White Claws. I'm not a seltzer guy. But if I see one in the fridge, like on a day that I don't really have anything to do, I'm just like, this will be liberating to have me a fucking alcohol
cold,
drink.
refreshing, and it's booze.
Yeah, and then it's like the fucking starter pistol went off, and it's just a nightmare for the next 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then I come home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and Jen's like, aren't we supposed to go to a movie? And I'm like, I'll take you to a movie. And she's like, no, you told me you would take me to a movie And I'm like, yeah, but like sexually. And she's like, just go to bed. Like,
I'm just gonna go to the movie by myself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'd rather be disappointing by a bad ending than your dick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your limp dick. Right.
Yeah, no, Jess definitely knows when I've hit my fucking spot, like on my birthdays, like,
yeah.
And I guess it kind of like gradually hits. I start getting more loosey goosey. Like, I'm like starting to get like good drunk, bad
drunk.
then I start getting to the point where there's now photos of like me and a buddy where we're imitating the scene from Ghost with like the clay pot.
Right.
And then next thing you know, I'm barely able to stand. I'm doing a 1-2 step.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, I think it was last year, her and little old Erin Marie.
Oh, yeah.
We were at O'Donnell's, and those two little sweet gals, which are both about 5'2"
and weigh like 210 pounds between the
together.
two of them.
And those two darlings was one of those where we walked home with my arms wrapped around both of them. They carried me home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Birthday Irresponsible is so fun.
Birthday what?
Irresponsible. So fun.
It's like, well, listen,
it's
my birthday.
Forthcoming now. Like, I'm not trying to hide it. I'm fucking 42. I'm not hiding that shit from anybody. So I don't give a shit.
Fair.
Like, on my birthday, I went out all day. I told you we were recording, and I was like, I'm coming in hot, baby. I'll be banged up. And you were like, don't be too banged up to record. And I'm like, yep. We came here. We went out after. We went to the Foundry. We had a great time. And then I was like, I texted Jen on the way. I texted my wife before we went to the bar. And I was like, I'm a little dinged up.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's fine. We're going to take an Uber. It doesn't matter. And you can tell the funniest way to know if I'm drunk is looking through my text message history, because I like remove any niceties whatsoever. I go purely factual. Like, Garrison texted me and he was like, hey, I'm up at the Richland with Jenny. We'd love to see you for your birthday. Are you drunk? Are you coming up here? And I wrote yes and no, and that was it.
Yes, I'm drunk.
No, I'm not coming up here. Yes and no. Like, those were two separate sentences, and that was it. It wasn't like, thank you, I appreciate it, I wish I could, but I got too drunk. It was just one word and fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'm done for that.
I don't have time for you tonight.
Yeah, I'm too drunk. I can only fit 11 characters into my drunken text messaging, and that's that.
And you're like, I got to get a cheeseburger. Would you say like 5 times the bacon, 7 times the pickle?
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly
Listen,
right.
everybody that listened to the episode of the bagel birthday, well, now you guys know. If it was actually hilarious,
that's why,
or terrible, I don't know what you guys think of it.
God, I hope it wasn't extra hilarious, because if I have to get that drunk every fucking Monday, it's going to be a goddamn nightmare.
It's because the old bagel had 1 or 2 before we recorded.
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah. No, and that's totally fine. I mean, that's part of the fun. It's your fucking birthday week.
Indeed.
I wouldn't have it any other less.
All right, so we're at about an hour.
Okay.
Do you want to do one more first before a game, or do you want to do a game?
Yes. Yeah. No, let's do at least one more.
Do you have one in mind?
So, kind of, yes. So let me preference this with
preface, but go on.
Oh, sorry. Preface this with anybody that hasn't listened to all the episodes yet. Jeez, I'm already stumbling over my own words. Like this, we have a bunch of like new listeners.
Yeah.
And shout out to all of those. I think we did this last week or whatever, but all the different countries and cities.
Hell yeah.
I see you in Virginia and
Iceland,
South Dakota. We haven't hit
fuck.
Iceland yet. No. But there's been a bunch of them. California and what have you. We're getting there. We're getting.
Love it.
It's all happening. But if you haven't listened to all the episodes, there was an episode. I think it's episode 3. It's called The Fingering.
Oh yeah.
And I tell a story of fingering a girl for the first time and getting in trouble for it. I had to go through an awkward punishment.
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah, and then I basically called my mom live on the show during that episode, and I had a bunch of questions to ask her. She was a great sport about it.
She sure was.
That being said, if you haven't listened to it, go back. It's episode 3, The Fingering. We also talk about Asian rub and tugs, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But if you have listened to it, here's my question. Do you remember the first time you fingered a girl?
Fingered. I don't. I know who it would have been.
It was anticlimactic.
I don't. I know who it was.
I mean, I have a backup first question.
Well,
but,
all right, so here's the thing.
Fine.
I'm a traditionalist when I was younger anyway. I mean, of course, I'm fucking married now, and I've been with the same
take her
person
out
for
to
like
dinner and then a movie and finger
and
her
then
during the movie?
Yeah, no, but
during Beethoven's second?
Listen, yeah, that was a good fingering movie, by the way.
Yeah.
But no, like I dated the first chick in my life when I started when I was 14, and I dated her until I was 18. I dated the first chick I ever dated for 4 years. We broke up for 10 weeks, and then I dated another chick, and I dated her for 4.5 years. So from the time I was sexually active until I was 23, I fucked 2 girls, 2.5 girls.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that one of them was large.
So, but with that first girlfriend,
yeah, I fingered her.
That was your first one? Okay.
Yeah, because I porked her the first time, too.
Getcha.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm also a big fan of the word porked.
Porked. It's not one that's usually used.
Yeah, I used it earlier today.
Days.
I gotta say, I did to a friend. Yeah,
you used.
Yeah,
porked?
I was talking to a female friend of mine, and she was like, "Yeah, this is a guy that I like, and we used to date, but now we're just friends, and every now and then we hook up." And she was like, "I'm kind of a bitch if I don't get laid all the time." And I was like, "Wow, he must be porking you on the regular because you've always been so sweet when I see you out," which was my version of being complimentary.
Fair enough,
including the word pork. Yeah.
Well, I'm
you remember your first finger? Was it that story?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was the first time I fingered a girl. Yeah, and I got in trouble for it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the first time I got a blowjob. I remember the first time I fucked a chick. Yeah, which was not pleasant.
Oh, I couldn't imagine. Your first time is probably never great.
No, especially I mean, just in general.
Well, oh, sorry.
I was at a well-known whore's house. Okay, this girl whose house I was at, she was a fucking loose chick. Like, she fucked a lot of people. And that's not the person that I banged. I was there with my girlfriend who was friends with this whore. And this whore was downstairs blowing my best friend at the time in the driveway. Not in his car, just in the driveway, blowing him.
That are kinky.
Fine.
They want to get caught.
Fine.
That's
Yeah.
their kink.
Sure.
Don't kink shame, dude.
Yeah.
They
fine.
want to get caught.
Listen, now
that makes him come.
Now I'm into it. Yeah. I totally get it now. But I'm like, oh my God, what a whore. She's down there just going to suck his dick. And then my girlfriend's like, well, speaking of sucking dicks. And then we fucked for 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was over. I had a great time.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
I felt, yeah. Listen,
liberated.
I've never fucked and not come. Just saying, I'm betting 1,000 since I was fucking 7. I was 17 years old the first time I had sex. I bet 1,000 since I was 17. So good for me.
So listen, I'm actually going to change up the first.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you this question, and then we can get on to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the first porn you've seen?
I do. In fact, I remember exactly what it's called.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Please continue, because I also remember mine as well.
Okay. I found a VHS porn in my dad's house, and it was like in this little wooden cabinet next to his bed, and it was called Butt Bongo Fiesta. And
They had such the best porn names back then.
Dude, they were.
Now it's
it
just
was,
like you go onto whatever you porn or whatever the fuck it is.
Anal poundage.
Yeah.
X3.
Giant dick like
right.
destroys teen pussy.
Yeah.
It's just not like they used to. Yeah.
Bongo Fiesta. It was a bunch of like 80s broads with really big hairdos and like really big bathing suits.
Yeah.
And they were like really shitty at volleyball, and then they got fucking pounded. Like, that's all I remember. There was just so much hair in this video.
Yeah.
Like, the dudes just had like flowy mullets and curly locks, and all the chicks had bushes and really big fucking hairdos and like Baywatch style outfits on. And yeah, it was wild. I also think I found a wooden dildo in there, but that's a different story for another episode.
All right, and write that down.
I'm gonna. I'll definitely remember this next episode of hashtag wooden dildo. But, all right, what was your first porn?
So the first one that I ever watched, I was at my buddy's house, and down in the basement, so his like folks, I don't know, his dad would always like sleep down in the basement. But we were down there. He had a dartboard, and we were down there playing darts. And fuck, I feel like we had to be like I don't know, 12.
I was gonna say 13.
13, somewhere in there. And we were playing darts, and one of the darts bounced off the metal and fell behind the dresser that was like right there.
Here's where you found it.
So naturally we're like, oh fuck, we gotta grab it. So we're like leaning, like what, like I don't know, I think it was him, and then he's like leaning back and like sticking his arm behind the dresser and like underneath, searching for the dart. But then he's like, oh, I feel something here. So then he's like, what is this? And he pulls out a VHS tape, and it's called Christy Sucks. That was it.
Okay. I mean, that could go a lot of directions.
Right.
Like,
so we're like,
she's bad at math.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So he's like, holy shit, look at this. Same deal. Like 80s porn, big hair, giant bush. And
awesome music.
So like his mom was home upstairs, and like his like sister. So we're like, do we put it in and see what it is? So we're like, okay. So we pop that into the VCR and we start watching it, and we're like, holy fuck. Did not know that this was going to be, because those are still like pretty hardcore. Like back then, they were very smutty.
Yeah. Well, we hadn't seen any of that. Like we didn't have like magazines with like fucking buttholes and stuff. It was like Playboy-ish. Like...
Well, yeah. I mean, I found Woods porn, but that was like Playboys and stuff like that. But yeah, it was the same thing, like giant bush, like huge, like cone titties.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Thank
cone.
you.
Yeah. But yeah, same deal. And we're like, oh shit. So we had to like rewind it back after like a minute of watching it.
VHS porn.
Yeah. And then had to rewind it back to the spot that we like remember leaving it at, like tuck it back into its like hiding spot.
You guys were smart enough to rewind it. That's like if you stole your parents' booze and you would fill it up with water to like to the same line.
Same
but you did
idea.
that with the porn.
With porn.
Because like your parents, their parents are going to watch the porn and be like, that's not the scene we left this on.
Well, his dad, he's like, that's not where I came.
Yeah, exactly. Or that dude already came.
Yeah.
I didn't get to that part yet.
Was I that fucked up when I was jerking off?
Yeah.
Listen, we were just covering our tracks just in case.
Whole different definition of muscle memory. Like cock muscle memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, listen, before we get into the game, I want to. Oh, actually, this will work out. It's great. Let me just adjust that. Okay. So, the game idea is, well, actually, you know what? Let's pick from the celebrity hat.
Okay.
And I'm going to hand this off to you. You pick 3 celebrities.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask you the question. I mean, that's the typical way we do the game.
Sure is.
All right. So here, I'm going to hand you the hat.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead and
3.
What's that? Yeah. Pull 3 out. And tell me who they are, and and then I will ask you the question.
How much you're laughing about this game. I can't wait.
Because it's a very silly idea, but go on.
Okay. I have Greg Giraldo, R.I.P., one of my favorite comedians of all time.
Wait. Hold on. Greg Giraldo.
The guy who only got paid to do roasts.
And he was before Jeff Ross, right?
At the same time.
Okay. I recognize the name.
Do you want a different one?
Yeah, pull somebody else besides that guy, because this game is going to work just for, I mean, you got to know the person.
Sure.
Tuck him back in. We'll save him for a later game. Pull somebody else out.
Okay. All right. I have Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Ben Stiller.
All right.
It's a very small piece of paper. And Andy Samberg.
All right. These are
oh, fuck yeah, dude.
These are all pretty great. Okay. So here's my question. Hold on, I gotta get a burp out here. Okay. So let's say you were out in a bar in Hollywood. You lived out in California, right?
Okay.
And you casually run into these guys individually on 3 separate nights, but each night that you met them, they invited you to their house for a dinner party the next day.
Okay.
So instead of just like being traditional, like bringing like a bottle of wine, right? Because you could bring that and they go, oh, cool, thanks. And they just set it aside, like, don't give a fuck. Here's the question. What would you do or dress up as from like maybe like one of their movies or something that would make you memorable, that when you showed up, because if you bring food, they're going to be like, oh, cool, throw it aside. If you bring wine, throw it aside. But let's say that you dress up as, let's say, one of their characters from any of their movies that would make you memorable, and like how would you like show up and like do it, you know, to like
Yep, got it.
Okay. So give us the three people again one more time.
Eddie Murphy.
Uh-huh.
Andy Samberg.
Uh-huh.
Ben Stiller.
Sorry, that was a mistake there.
Eddie Murphy, Andy Samberg, Ben Stiller.
Okay. Eddie Murphy, Andy Samberg, Ben Stiller. Okay.
All right.
So you can choose on which one you want to go first. So who are you going first?
I'll go Eddie.
Okay. So Eddie Murphy's like, hey, man. He's like, come over to my house tomorrow. Yeah. We're having a dinner party. And you're like, do I need to bring anything? And he's like, no. He's like, I mean, whatever, you know. But of course, you always
be memorable.
You want to do something.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to stand
So you
out.
show up at Eddie Murphy's house. What's your sitch?
You know exactly what it is.
Nutty Professor?
No, you asshole. I'm wearing purple leather, baby.
Like you're going to do like his like delirious
raw.
or raw?
Delirious or raw. Yep.
Okay.
And I'm going to walk in there and he's going to be like looking me up and down like, what are you wearing? I'm like, you ain't got no ice cream. You didn't get none. You did because your father's an alcoholic. Exactly.
And he's on welfare. Yeah.
Exactly. I'd be doing that.
What the fuck is a goody goo goo?
Yeah, exactly. I would be doing that for sure. I love Eddie Murphy, and I could have done a bunch of different ways, but I was thinking maybe Beverly Hills Cop, but for sure.
Well, but also it's like
leather.
Yeah.
It's not iconic to dress like him.
Dressing up in that one-piece leather suit, which I know that we did kind of.
Oh my God, it would be so hot.
On not that long ago.
Oh my God, and my whole body would stink. Like I would stink so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume all of that's like enveloped in there. And like you go home and you unzip it and you're just like a cloud comes out of stink.
Yeah.
But dude, yeah.
And hopefully it wouldn't leak out like at the party where you're like talking to other celebrities. Like
it's like
he's got like John Belushi over there or something like that.
And he's just sniffing around.
Yeah.
You remember the movie Outbreak?
Yeah, with the monkeys that
when they were all like wearing their suits and then like one of them gets like a hole in it and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like the fucking horrible disease is getting in, but for me it'd be like the stink is gonna get out. Belushi'd be like, "What's that smell?" I'd be like, "I gotta go home."
Yeah,
yeah. I don't have any ice cream.
He's looking, checking himself too.
Exactly. Yeah, but definitely I would go raw or delirious for sure. His most iconic look.
All right, and if any of you guys don't know what we're talking about, Eddie Murphy had like
just stop listening. Yeah,
a stand-up.
Fuck you if you don't know what that is.
Had a stand-up, actually a couple of stand-ups like in like the 80s, and he wore like a single-colored leather jumpsuit.
Yep. On stage.
Yep.
Where speaking of smoking, everybody in the crowd was smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, and it's getting hot as fuck under those lights.
No air movement. If you watch, like you can see everybody's like stale Latin cigarette smoke is just hanging in front of the fucking stage lights. And those stage lights, it had to be 100 degrees on that stage for an hour.
Yeah.
While he roasted in a fucking leather suit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
There's one called Delirious and one's called Raw.
Yeah.
Go check them out. They're pretty
fabulous.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, stand the test of time for sure.
Okay.
All right, what about you, Freddie? Or do you want me to go through
No, I want you to go through all three, and then I'll give you my. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me think.
I think we should go one at a time.
Let's go one and one. I mean, we're gonna have to go to the same ones.
Yeah.
I'd say I wasn't really thinking because I was listening to you and thought I'd have more time. So while I'm stalling here, I think it would probably be rude to do Nutty Professor. However, if you went with the spandex part when he was like skinny and he's like, spandex,
right.
all spandex,
all spandex.
I can see my dick, my dick. I can see my dick.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a great voice for that, by the way.
Well, thanks.
I can get it up that high, but yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that's the first reaction that I can think of because I mean, like the majority of his movies, there's nothing really like.
All right. The only other thing
suitable
I would do, and again, back to Beverly Hills Cop, which is definitely my favorite movie.
It's like a white jean jacket. Or something.
He was always wearing like a gray sweatshirt and just like jeans. Like he was just a very casual from Detroit guy. But there's that scene where he goes to find Victor Maitland, the bad guy, and he's in a fancy restaurant, Victor Maitland. So he walks up there and like the maitre d' is like, "May I help you, sir?" And he's just like, he like clicks into this super gay character and puts his hands on his hips. And he's like, yes. And he walks over and he's like, I'm here to see Mr. Maitland. And they're like, well, he's not taking visitors. And he's like, all right, well, me and Ramon were down at the club the other night, and he's like, I don't want this to be public information, but he might have herpes simplex 10. Yeah. So I think if I went to his house and like, I don't know why I'm envisioning like ringing the doorbell and Eddie Murphy answers it, like he doesn't have somebody that answers the door. But if he answered the door and I was standing there and I was like, things are going to start falling off on the man.
Yeah.
I think he would totally appreciate that because it's pretty underrated for what a great fucking setup it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's like, I think that's what I'd have to go with. Just showing up in spandex.
Yeah.
And just quoting that line.
Eddie would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you go first on Sandberg.
Sandberg.
I feel like we're going to be the same on this.
I think so. I think there's just a really easy go-to. Is that what you're probably going for?
I don't know.
Hold on. Let me think really quick. If there's anything besides what I have in mind first. Damn, there's two that we can go off of, and I'm wondering if you're gonna go. You know what? I think one would be very easy to go to, but I think I would go with the Dick in a Box video.
Nice.
Like
I considered that.
Yeah. So like the music video and for SNL, I was like, it's my dick in a box
with Timberlake.
So I would show up in that same outfit and like the mustache, and then just have a box like sewn to my pants or taped or however the fuck, just walking in like that and just be like,
I love that.
What's up? I brought wine and this.
Booyah.
Here's my present.
Yeah.
It's I'll give you 3 guesses on what it is.
Sure.
I'll tell you. It's a dick in a box.
Right.
Yeah. I think that'll be mine.
So I thought you were gonna go Hot Rod.
So that was my other one.
Right.
That's what I thought at first. That's why I was like, this might be a little too easy to go to, but that Dick in a Box is also notorious. But
so
go on.
One year for Halloween, I didn't have a costume, and we were throwing a party at our house, and I just had to come up with something. We had just bought, I don't know, like a sound bar or something, and so I had this very long box, and so I just put my belt through it, and I wrapped it and put bows on it, and it was like 3 feet long. It went from my waist to the ground. So it was like, because they always had it as a present that was like, I don't know, like 10 inches by 10 inches, like, it's my dick in a box. But mine went fucking to the ground.
Oh, so you actually did that for a costume.
For Halloween one year.
Dope.
Yeah. Yeah, but the other one I was going to do for Sandberg, and I don't know if you know it, it was a Saturday Night Live commercial he did with Jason Sudeikis called Taco Town Tacos.
Oh, yeah.
So if I think for Sandberg, if he was having a party and I showed up and I brought the Taco Town bag,
oh my gosh,
that had that giant,
and make that fucking taco,
and just went Taco Town and just fucking help. It's like, and then it's covered with 5 pounds of vegetarian chili, and just like handed him a bag full of chili with a huge, ridiculous taco that has like Parisian crepes and blueberry pancakes.
So let's explain to those that haven't seen it. YouTube, what's it called? Taco Town.
Taco Town.
SNL.
Taco Town.
Look that up. But it's basically they start eating tacos, and someone's announcing it like it's a commercial. But then he's like, "But wait, you can also add this," and it starts getting bigger and bigger. He keeps doing
Taco
it
Town.
over
and
over.
We wrap it inside of a gordita shell, and we stuff it with guacamolito sauce. And they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to eat it." And they're like, "You should." Unless you don't want it to be more delicious, because then we put it inside of a corn husk and roast it with tomatillo sauce. And then they're like, and then it goes inside of a Chicago-style deep dish meat lover's pizza.
Yeah, it's just bigger and bigger. So it's like obviously like impossible to fucking eat.
Yeah. And then they cover it with 5 pounds of chili.
So you'd show up, that
with
would
a
be like your
Town
present.
Taco bag.
As
dude. Like, hey, housewarming.
Yeah, that's what a disgusting present. What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
Oh no, you can cut it up for everybody,
sure. And just
or just give everybody a fork and we just dip out of the bag.
Like Andy Samberg's just having a potluck. Like you're supposed to bring your own dish, and I just show up with one huge taco with 5 pounds of chili in a fucking shitty
like it's got pizza and crepes and corn husks.
Blueberry pancakes and fucking meat lovers pizza in it. Yeah, I think that would be hysterical, and I think he would definitely remember and appreciate it.
That is good.
Yeah.
Who's your Ben Stiller?
All right. I thought about this for a minute. I think if I was going to go memorable, I would go dressed as Cameron Diaz with cum in my hair.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I would.
That's pretty good.
I would bleach blonde my hair and fucking cum it up a little bit and wear a red dress.
Well done.
Yeah,
That's good.
I think that's where I would go, is fucking super hard Cameron Diaz. Yeah, and look lumpy as fucking a red dress with cum in my hair.
That is great.
Yeah, I think that's where I would go.
Everyone's seen Something About Mary, right?
Absolutely.
There's a reference. If you haven't, go fucking watch it. If you haven't watched
or
it,
go fuck yourself. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. She puts
cum
cum in her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she doesn't get cum in. Yeah.
No, I said she puts cum in her
That's
hair.
correct.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. Yeah. He puts cum somewhere.
Yeah.
And then she puts it in her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. I didn't
Yeah.
even really think about doing like outside characters.
Yeah.
Damn, that's good.
That's where I would go.
We'll have to do this again, like
Fuck
on
yeah,
another
this
episode.
is a great fucking game.
Yeah, this is good. This is good.
All right, so Stiller for you.
Stiller for me. I have a couple, and I'm trying to think that would be. Man, there's a couple of options here, because especially now that you said like other characters.
Yeah.
Man, if I have to make a final decision to get all dressed up, makeup, etc., man.
Where were you thinking originally? Did you have something in mind?
Well, these are my like original. I mean, I have a couple. I don't know if you want to dump these out or if I just tell you which one I'd have to. It's a tough flip here to try to figure out which.
Yeah.
I think that the Zoolander would be hysterical.
Oh my God. Hell yeah.
And I think it would be great to do that. And then when we're like, oh, yes, I would like a tour of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's like showing me like, oh, yeah, he's like, if we go down this way, then I also like can't turn left. So I have to turn right in order to go down the hallway.
Yeah, that'd be smart.
It's like, oh, wow, that looks amazing. And then I would like,
that's a great idea.
We'd like walk into like a room and it's got like a giant like mirror. And I would just do like the Zoolander, like the lips perked, like the Magnum or the Blue Steel, right? Just like into the mirror, but like looking at him while he's standing behind me directly in the eyes.
Yeah.
Can only imagine like.
Oh my God. So many great ideas, because that's such a fun movie. Like, all right, so here's two things I was thinking, because I didn't even consider Zoolander, which is a great idea. The two things I would think of is, one, like when he answered the door, I would be looking away from the door, dressed as a mermaid, and just going, merman, merman.
It also would be good to not be facing the door when he opens up, and you do the turn and do the blue steel to him when he answers the door.
Yeah. The other one I was thinking was that you could just be standing out there with like a mountain of cotton balls that are dirty, and you could be like,
Get the black lung pop.
I think I've got the black lung pop. I've been down there for 30 years. Yeah.
You know what
hilarious.
You know what the best part of this is? Is that out of all three of these, I feel like it would be the most awkward, because you got to think that like it's like they're having a dinner party.
Yeah.
You met them last night.
Right.
And you made such an impression that they invited you, just a regular person. You're not a celebrity. Like, listen, man, you're pretty cool. Like, come over and hang out at my house. We're having a dinner party. Like, get to meet some people. Blah blah blah. I feel like it would be the most awkward situation, to almost to the point where you'd probably get kicked out of the house.
Do you think?
With Ben Stiller.
I don't think.
I think that it would be the most awkward. I don't know if he'd actually find it hilarious. But think about this: everybody at this party is dressed up in nice clothes, maybe like
so bored,
tux or whatever, you know. But then
everybody's there sucking his dick. Everybody's like, "Dude, great party! It's amazing to see you. I'm also a celebrity." Blah blah. He's like, "Yeah, thanks." They're like, "Oh, I brought you a fucking $900 bottle of wine." He's like, "Cool. I don't have 9 million of those." And then you show up dressed as a fucking mermaid, and you're like, "Merman." And he's like, "Yeah, so I invited this fucking dummy over who got drunk apparently and is dressed as a mermaid."
I can think of so many ideas. I mean, just dressing up as Zoolander, and like I said, like doing the shit around the tour.
Yeah.
And then think about this: once the tour's over, now you're all standing around in like the kitchen, dining room area, just having casual conversation.
Yeah.
But you're the only one that is dressed as the homeowner, Ben Stiller, and everyone's like, "Well, this is awkward." And you're just standing there, but then you like stand next to him, and he's like, Yeah, so this morning I went golfing. Like, I went golfing this morning, like repeating just what he's saying, but in like the Zoolander voice.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, like we had a shoot earlier today, but like I had to stop and get coffee. I went and got coffee
Right.
before I got my shots for modeling.
What if you brought a supporting character? Like, what if you were a character from a movie for whatever, and, like, you went into Ben Stiller's house, right, as Zoolander, and then 25 minutes later, someone else showed up as Hansel.
Dude.
And just pulled out a scooter out of his backpack, and you were like, well, guess what? I just booked the Derelict campaign, and you're like, well, I've never heard of that. I was out in Maui with spider monkeys, so I guess you can derelict my balls, Capitan. And like there was like a big pinnacle of like a fight that was going to break out at Ben Stiller's house that you recreated from one of his movies.
Yeah.
I think he would fucking love it.
I think the people would enjoy that and be like, wow, Ben. They're like,
oh, yeah.
well done.
What a performance.
Wow, what
Ben.
a dinner and a show.
Yeah.
This is great.
And he'd
Ben.
be like, I just met this fucking drunk idiot yesterday, and I don't know who his friend is.
Yeah, I don't even know who the fuck this guy is.
Right.
I can see him being like, okay, you guys both, you get the fuck out of my house.
Right.
Like, you're fucking weird.
Yeah.
I was drunk last night, so I invited you on accident.
Sure.
You know?
Because I'd be like, you can derelict my balls, and then I'd be
Fuck
like
you, Ben.
right over at the Crab Rangoons just fucking smashing them.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I would be.
I think-
People are like, who the fuck is that guy? I'd be like, I don't fucking know. I invited this guy I met yesterday, and he brought his fucking friend who's just destroying the buffet.
I think that once Ben kicks you out of the house, I think you tell him to derelict your balls.
I certainly
You do
would.
it to him.
Yeah.
Like, fine, fuck you, Ben.
Yeah.
How about you derelict
Why don't
my
you
balls?
derelict
Yeah.
my balls? Yeah, that pause is so good. All right. Holy shit, man. We got to wrap.
Okay.
God, it's
so
fucking fun and fast all the time.
yeah, I know. It always goes by so damn quick. Okay,
Sure does.
so that is that. Before we end things, I do want to give a shout out to my little brother, Duddy.
Duddy.
As we had spoke about last week's episode, I think with the nicknames I think we were
did.
talking about. He's actually leaving for college tomorrow morning.
Congrats, Duddy.
So good for you, bud. Proud of you.
Just remember to sing that classic song, Luddy Duddy, we likes to putty. We don't start trouble. We don't bother nobody. That fucking rhymes, by the way.
Oh, it sure does.
Fuck yeah, Duddy.
Duddy, write that shit down, dude.
What's Duddy studying? What is Duddy gonna study?
What's Duddy study?
Fucking idiot. I didn't
little
mean that.
funny
Yeah,
Duddy. What's he studying?
I didn't mean that. Yeah. What are you gonna study? Never mind.
He's looking to be a history teacher.
Oh, he likes being poor.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
guess.
All right, Duddy, if you need a loan, talk to somebody else.
Well, the bagel is the Jew.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe
know a
he
guy,
can.
but
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Duddy, wish you well.
Yeah, but listen, good for you. Super proud of you.
Yeah. Get it, kiddo.
You're fucking doing it. Have fun on your adventures. Be safe. Don't rape.
No.
I
mean, unless.
Don't eat cheese before noon.
I'll stop.
I think you wait a half hour before swimming after eating.
Yep.
Is there any other life advice you need to hand out there?
No. I mean, you know the whole thing about the half hour of waiting after you eat. It's a real thing, and then I think you remember it from the Adam Sandler CD. So after you have to wait, then you should go slap your cock and balls around for mama while she makes you jelly sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Don't
listen
do
to
that. You'll get kicked out of school. Unless you're in your own room. That's fine.
This is not the type of history you should be learning.
Yeah.
Wish you well,
Different kind of
kiddo.
history.
That's right.
Good for you, Bob. Congrats.
Yeah.
Have fun. Besides that, guys, as we said before, our email.
Always time. Always a pleasure.
Yep.
What is it? Let them eat snow or
Pizza, bagels.
Snow.
Now.
pizza, bagel, snow.
Pika. I said Pika.
Pikachu.
Pizza.
Pikachu snow.
Pizza bagels now
Right.
at gmail.com or pizza bagel snow
Yeah.
at gmail.com.
That's right.
Send us in some shit. We will read off if you have some fun anonymous letter.
Yeah, we would love that.
Um,
And also, you made it when your podcast email is at gmail.com.
yeah.
Like, that's upper echelon shit. We're
Yeah.
not Hotmail like fucking poor people.
Right.
Yeah. Gross.
Listen, I had
We're
to.
not immigrants.
Yeah, we had to
Yeah.
go through a lot of like
Yeah.
big wig execs just to get this email.
Yep.
So,
I called the upper echelon of the Jewish community, and we locked in a Gmail. So hit us up.
besides that, then I say we do a quick shot on our exit out, and
Done.
then we will play the jams.
All right, let's do a quick shooter. Here's to Duddy.
To Duddy.
Wish you well. Be
college,
smart.
old boy.
Don't get anybody pregnant.
Not on purpose.
That's right.
All right. See you guys.
If you can't come in her, come on her. There you go, Duddy.
All right.
All right.
So long.
Bye.
Till next week's episode. Salud.